Rev up your engine. Today we're going to try to find and fix a noise that this Jeep is making that nobody's been able to figure out. Quite a few mechanics have looked at it, they can't figure it out. So we're going to start her up, wipe off last night's rain, and take it for a spin. Not only makes a noise when you're driving down the road, so let's listen. Hear it? Wah, 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 wah. It comes and it goes. There it goes. Make it again. You heard that? Wee, 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 wee. We won't do it now. We'll see if it'll make it again. We'll try going uphill in a second. Often cars will make more noise going uphill than downhill. So here we go up a hill. There it goes. In this case, it's making it more when it decelerates. Now, if it was a wheel bearing, the faster you go, the louder the sound. This is kind of the opposite. When you start decelerating, you hear the wah. Unfortunately, that's often inside the transmission. So it's off to the auto parts store. I've been using this lube guard for quite some time. We're going to try it out. And now that I'm driving it, I can hear a noise in reverse. Listen. Hear the... I put it in drive, it stopped. I put it in reverse. It's definitely in the transmission. And you can really hear it now. Hear that? You can definitely hear it now. It did a little bit more after it warmed up. It's inside the transmission. Now you don't want to overfill the transmission, so first we'll check the fluid. With it running, we'll check it. And it's full, so we'll drain some out. It's a royal pain in the behind, dropping the pan, getting all the fluid out, putting it back in. So I'm using my little vacuum pump, and I can suck it out of the hole. So we just stick the tube in the hole, feed it in until it gets to the bottom, goes down a long way. The lube guard is 10 ounces, so we'll suck out 10 ounces. Then we'll get my cool funnel. It kind of looks like a pipe, and it fits in perfectly. Slides right in, and we'll pour it in there. We'll pour the 10 ounces in. And of course, always follow the directions. Can be used with any automatic transmission fluid except Ford Type C, CVT, or dual clutch transmission. So follow the directions. Do not put it in Ford F, CVTs, or DCT. Then we put the dipstick back in and drive it around. And I do mean drive. You can drive it whenever you want. You don't have to do it all at once, but usually 200 to 250 miles of driving will work its whole way through the transmission of the various seals and solenoids to try to clean them all up, lubricate them so they stop making that squealing noise. And I do notice that it's mainly in second gear it makes the noise, so it must be second gear problem that there's some kind of buildup that's making it squeak like that, because once it shifts down to first gear it stops making the noise. From second to first, and stop making a noise. So here we go on our trip. We're going to accentuate the testing by driving it in second gear. You can see we're going 50, but it's going 3,500 RPM. That will make the gears spin faster and the lubrication to do its job quicker this way. Now it's not like there's something physically worn out yet because it shifts perfectly fine. But the noise is rather annoying. Working pretty good so far because it's no longer making the noise in reverse. Remember, before we put it in drive and it was quiet. When we put it in reverse, it made that noise. The noise is now gone. So it is doing its job. I can barely hear the sound now. I can hear it very low, but it's quieting down after only a few miles of driving. No noise in drive, but now, no noise in reverse either. So what the heck, we'll drive it around some more. Now even in second gear, that whiny noise has gone. Other than just a tiny bit left. Not much. And putting it in reverse, no noise at all. I'll often clean the reverse gear out first. Even going uphill now, you can barely hear it. It's a little, hear it? Just a tiny bit. And then when it goes into first, it stops entirely. So it's in second gear. It doesn't. Although it used to do it in reverse, and it doesn't anymore. Even when it was sitting, it didn't make it in drive, but it made it in reverse. Now even when we back up, it's not making a noise. So at least it fixed that part. Now lube guard's been around a long time, and I gotta buy this stuff. It was 20 bucks at an O'Reilly's, so they're not paying me, I'm actually paying them to buy the product. I've been using it for decades, and it often does help out. Now let's say second gear was physically worn. Well, it's not gonna stop the noise, but it's already quieted it down. It stopped it entirely in reverse. So it doesn't make that in reverse like it did before. So stuff's working. If it goes away entirely, great. If not, well, it's got 210,000 miles on it. Could be second gear is just worn, but it shifts good enough. It's the noise that's driving the guy nuts. And we'll know after 250 miles or so of driving if the noise goes away entirely or whether it at least quieted down, because it's quieter now. We'll hope that that quietness lasts, because this is a friction modifier. It can take a while to work its way through. Like I say, any of these additives, 200 to 250 miles of driving, generally it'll have worked its way through the whole system, and if it's going to do something, it'll do it within 250 miles or so. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Well, I read an article yesterday. Somebody finally agrees with me, saying that the United States is making the same mistakes with electric vehicles as they are with gas-powered cars. And what are they saying? They're saying what I've been saying for years. Americans keep wanting to drive big, giant monstrosities, right? Giant SUVs, giant trucks. I mean, look at Toyota. Toyota used to make cute little pickup trucks. Well, everything is getting supersized, like McDonald's, you know. Do you want to supersize that? The people are getting supersized. The vehicles are getting supersized. Well, since that's what Americans want, big, giant monstrosities, what are the car manufacturers designing now? Big, giant electric cars. Of course. The range is a problem. They're big and heavy. Silverado electric truck is going to weigh over 8,000 pounds, which is 3,000 more than a gasoline version, right? So they got to pull all that weight. A lot of it has to do with batteries. They weigh a ton. Of course, getting charged and all that infrastructure is another problem on top of it. But the car makers are just trying to sell vehicles. And they know people want big vehicles. So their theory is we're going to have to make big, giant electric vehicles, right? But as I've been saying for ages, you want to make electric cars, start small, work your way up. Their problem is they all watched Elon at Tesla sell a bunch of large electric cars for a whole bunch of money, and all the other guys will jump on the bandwagon. Are agreed, we'll make a whole bunch of money like Tesla. Well, what happened to Elon last year? He became the first person on the planet to lose $200 billion. The value of his company's going down. And if you ask me, it's got a long way to go. It's still valued at the most valuable car manufacturer in the world. They make overpriced junk. Eventually, it'll come home to roost. People will realize that was the wrong way to go. You want small electric cars for going inner city? Fine. Not cross-country, big giant things. It doesn't make any sense at all. Because if you look at it, the average American's driving most of the time by themselves in a car. You don't need this giant thing. A little small electric car would be totally fine, right? And then you could get them to go further because they would weigh less. The less they weigh, the longer range they're going to have. But all the car manufacturers have jumped on that bandwagon. Look at the money he made. Let's be just like him. They're even copying the steering wheel from some of his cars, even though they don't even work right because they're not round. They're more oval-shaped, flat on the bottom like an airplane. But you don't steer them like that. You just turn them a little bit so you don't have to worry about it hitting you because it's not round anymore, right? Completely different thing. But the world's gone mad, and now they're copying him into making giant electric vehicles. Hummers, pickup trucks, you know, big expensive luxury cars. It's a mistake. If anybody looks at how a normal car company made a profit, it was always their most inexpensive, smaller vehicles that they sold the most of here in the United States. Corollas, they're smaller. They sell the heck out of those things, 40-something million. They're jumping on the wrong bandwagon. And other people now are finally agreeing with me. Gee, you know, maybe they're making a mistake with electric vehicles. And let me tell you, they are. The Chinese got a bunch of tiny ones. They've already beaten us to the punch with tiny electric cars. So maybe it'll be like, we're wearing Chinese clothes. You know, everything we got in the house is made in China. Maybe we'll be driving little electric cars made in China too, because the Americans are too busy building big ones. Alexander Racer says, how do I remove rusty wheels? I have wheels that are rusted and corroded to the hub. I know you can kick, it doesn't work, and I don't want to have a sledgehammer to damage the rim. Help. All right, well, here's the thing. First thing you want to do, you know, try to kick it. Maybe it'll come off. Spray WD-40 behind. Maybe that'll help. If not, now you don't want to damage your rim. So what you do is get yourself a nice piece of 2x4. Jack the car up, turn the wheel so you got a lot of hammer room. Put the 2x4 on the rim. Then whack it with a sledgehammer. You'll be hitting the 2x4, and only wood will be hitting the rim, and wood isn't going to hurt the rim. Then hit one part, turn the wheel some more, hit some more, and eventually it will come off using the 2x4 and a sledgehammer. The wood will keep it from damaging the rims. I've done that on hundreds of cars over the years. It always works. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.